Hundreds of F1 visa students are being ordered to leave the country and their visas are being revoked. These visas are being revoked without notice to the university or to the student. This is happening right now, and in this video we'll talk about why are they revoking those visas, why are they not putting those students on notice, and if you are an F1 visa student right now, what should you be doing to protect yourself now? Hello everybody, and welcome back to Immigration Channel. In this video, we'll talk about F1 visas being revoked, why they are being revoked, and specifically why they are being revoked without notice. What you should do as an F1 visa student currently in the United States, worried about your status. How should you check if your visa has been actually revoked? What should you do if your visa is revoked? What solutions to bring you back to status? All this in this video, so make sure you watch this video all the way until the end. I'm going to cover all the latest developments with respect to F1 visa being revoked at this moment in the hundreds by many universities all over the country. So this has started about a month ago. You've seen many students being detained, specifically activists being involved in protests. It started by these students being detained without notice. They have no idea that their visas were already being revoked by the State Department. But now, in the past week or so, we see even more students receiving notices of F1 visa cancellation and revocation, and in many cases without notice. The university doing routine checks of the service record, finding out that students are being canceled, and some students are actually getting emails from the State Department notifying them that their visas, F1 visas, are now being canceled. In the past, by the way, F1 students were allowed to enter the United States with a visa. Sometimes the visa is good for 3 years, sometimes it's good for 5 years. The bottom line is that once the visa expires, if their I-20, their status in the United States is still good, they could continue to renew their status in the United States for many years to finish their education and pursue other education like master's or a PhD. Now, in some cases, even if that visa was revoked in their passports, those students were allowed to remain in the United States to finish their education. Because, in the past, students were getting visas revoked from time to time for whatever reasons, that the State Department got notification, maybe they violated their status. But those students were still allowed to remain in the United States to finish their education because the I-20s were still valid and they were able to stay. That policy is now completely changed, and those people that were revoked their status and their visas are no longer allowed to stay in the United States because their service record is now also canceled. Remember, the visa revocation only applies to the visa in their stamp. It doesn't really apply to their status inside the United States. That's been the practice for the past many years because students actually had their visas revoked in the past, but they were allowed to stay in the United States to finish their education. Again, the situation right now is very different because many students that received notifications that their visas were revoked are now told to leave the country. In fact, in many cases, ICE agents show up at the residence, detain them, and process them for removal by issuing them notice to appear to court because they're in violation of their status, because they haven't left the United States. Now, the reason why it's happening right now, it's not just the visa that is being revoked, but also their status. Their service status is being canceled, and immigration is now being notified that these students are now out of status, and as a result, notifying their universities that they should not allow them to stay in school and finish their education. Now, the issue is that many of the students are getting their service status canceled. The service status actually is what keeps you legal in the country. It controls your reporting to immigration from the school. It also has your service number on your I-20, and that gives you the right to stay and live in the United States, even if your visa expired or has been revoked. Remember, guys, it's a big shift. So if you're an F1 student watching this video, you have to be careful. You have to make sure you communicate with your school on a daily basis to make sure that your service record is still intact, because if it's not, you're in trouble and you have to speak with an immigration attorney to determine what are your next options. So before we talk about what international students should do right now, knowing that many students are now being targeted for visa revocations and getting their service status canceled while they're in the United States. What should you do if you're international students in the United States right now watching this video, or you know somebody who's a student? Before we talk about that, guys, if you're here for the first time, you're watching my videos and you're not a subscriber, I ask you, please subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And also share this video with somebody that needs to see this information so they can as well subscribe to my channel. But also, if you need help in your immigration matters, send me a text to 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationasap.com. Leave your details in there and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. And now let's get back into the video. So what should international students do right now? If your visa has been canceled and your status also been canceled at SEVIS, you should try to file for reinstatement. By doing reinstatement, we plead the government to put you back in status because there was probably a mistake or because we feel that for whatever reason that we can plead in the case, you should still be allowed to finish school and go back into status. Typically, we work with the school and immigration to try to plead them to reinstate you. Sometimes they made a mistake, but they canceled your status, and we can show them, listen, this person didn't violate their status, they didn't overstay, they didn't work illegally, they were not convicted of any crimes. Here's the record. Please reconsider and put them back in status. Reinstatement is the number one thing that we do right now to bring students back into status after the visa has been revoked. Now, remember, the only way you can do a reinstatement is if you've been out of status for less than 5 months. If you've been in status for more than 5 months, you'll have to depart, go back to the US Embassy and apply for a new visa. And of course, in this case, it's going to be very hard for you to do so. Now, if your visa has been canceled and there is no way for you to get reinstated, you should leave the country voluntarily before ICE detains you and puts you in removal proceedings. If you're going to be removed, it's going to be more difficult for you to come back to the United States in the future. Finally, you can file an Administrative Procedures Act lawsuit against the government if the termination was without due process and wasn't done legally. You could potentially sue the government and see if you get some relief. The big thing, guys, you have to stay in touch with your DSO, your school advisor. Make sure that they check your SEVIS every day and check your emails as well in case you got an email from the State Department, you got to act on it ASAP. The university is saying that the government is working with now notified universities. They're deleting SEVIS status from the systems, but they're not telling the universities that they've canceled students' SEVIS status, which means that even universities sometimes may not be aware that a student is out of status until either ICE comes to the student or the student finds out through an email that their status has been canceled. So very important to work with your universities to make sure that you guys monitor your SEVIS status every single day. Now, what can be some of these reasons why this visa been canceled? Number one, if you're involved in any of these protests, pro-Palestinian, and any of these protests last year, then you are going to be a target for visa revocation. It's going to happen automatically from the State Department, and then they're going to be targeting to find the United States, potentially detain you and deport you. Number two is if you have any criminal convictions in the past and the government knows about it because you had a fingerprint in the system, they will start issuing visa cancellations. Also, people that had speeding tickets, went to court, tried to plead their case, even minor violations like that could trigger a visa violation. In those cases, we can fight and try to get you reinstated. And finally, if you worked without authorization and immigration caught you, you will lose your visa and they will put you in deportations. So guys, things are changing. If you're a student visa, on student visa, you got to be careful. You got to be mindful, understand your rights, work with your school. And if you have any violations in the past 2 years and you're here on a student visa, you need to speak with an immigration attorney right now. If you need help, send me a text, 619-483-4549, or go to www.immigrationasap.com. Leave your details, and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.